From chart-topping hits to world tours and business ventures, Usher has remained a dominant force in music and culture for over 2 decades. But what does life look like now for this R&B legend? In this video, we take you inside Usher's luxurious lifestyle, from his stunning multi-million-dollar mansions to his sleek car collection, designer fashion, and globe-trotting escapes. Every element reflects a life built on talent, hustle, and reinvention. We'll also dive into his career milestones, entrepreneurial moves, and his estimated net worth in 2025. This isn't just a story about stardom, it's about legacy, longevity, and living at the top with style. Before the lights, the limos, and the platinum records, there was Chattanooga, a small southern city where the hills rolled with gospel echoes and stories were passed not through headlines, but through hymnals. It was here, on October 14th, 1978, that Usher Raymond IV was born, destined to find his voice before most found their footing. Usher's earliest stages weren't arenas or award shows. They were pews and pulpits. Raised primarily by his mother, Jonetta Patton, young Usher found his spark in the church choir. His grandmother recognized the gift first, urging him to sing in the youth group at St. Elmo Missionary Baptist Church. It wasn't long before that voice, equal parts velvet and fire, began to draw eyes and ears. Jonetta, a fierce protector and early believer in her son's star power, quickly became his manager, mentor, and mission control. A single mother navigating a world not yet ready to fully see her son's brilliance, she poured her ambition into his. In Chattanooga, talent was admired, but in Atlanta, it could be discovered. So, when Usher was just 12 years old, Jonetta made a bold move, relocating the family to Atlanta, Georgia. A bigger stage, a bolder dream. She enrolled him in local talent shows, guided him through auditions, and eventually landed him in front of industry scouts. Atlanta would prove fertile ground. But the roots were planted in Tennessee, among family, faith, and the quiet conviction of a mother who saw not just who her son was, but who he could become. In the end, before he became a household name, Usher was a boy with a gift, and a mother who would never let the world ignore it. In Atlanta, Usher didn't just find opportunity, he found momentum. The city in the early 90s was a cradle of black creativity, where music pulsed from every block and dreams were currency. But for a teenager with a voice like silk and a work ethic built by discipline, the question wasn't whether he'd break through. It was when. By the time he enrolled at North Springs High School, Usher was already living a double life. By day, he was a student navigating locker-lined hallways. By night and weekend, he was in studios, on stages, and at industry events, all under the careful watch of his mother-turned-manager. Homework shared space with rehearsals. Exams were squeezed between vocal training and choreography drills. What made Usher different wasn't just talent, it was who he studied. He treated the careers of Michael Jackson, Bobby Brown, Prince, and Marvin Gaye as blueprints. He mimicked their moves, absorbed their emotional range, and watched how they owned a stage not just with presence, but with purpose. But it wasn't imitation. It was immersion. Usher had a deep understanding of his predecessors, not just their songs, but their intent. And then came LaFace Records. At just 13, he auditioned for the label co-founded by Antonio L.A. Reid and Kenneth Babyface Edmonds. His rendition of Boyz II Men's End of the Road left the room stunned. It was raw, it was refined, it was undeniable. LaFace signed him and the process of sharpening the diamond began. He was quickly placed into development under the guidance of Sean Diddy Combs, an experience that would prove both challenging and transformative. Under Diddy, Usher was pushed hard, expected to carry himself like an adult in a business that rarely forgives adolescence. But he absorbed it all. The fashion, the attitude, the grind. Every experience layered onto his artistry like a thread in a tapestry. Before long, Usher wasn't just a kid with a good voice. He was a rising performer with presence, polish, and vision. Someone on the verge of becoming unforgettable. By 1994, Usher had done what most teenagers only dreamed of. He released his debut album at just 15 years old. Simply titled Usher, the album was produced under the mentorship of Sean Diddy Combs, who infused it with a bold, edgy swagger. But behind the scenes, the experience was anything but smooth. While the album introduced his voice to the world, it also sparked controversy. Some critics and fans questioned the maturity of the lyrics for someone so young. Usher himself would later admit he was still figuring out who he was. Not just as an artist, but as a young man. The pressure was immense. The spotlight, both thrilling and unforgiving. Instead of folding under that pressure, Usher went inward. He trained. He listened. He refined. The next few years would be critical. He wasn't content with being a flash in the pan. He wanted longevity. And in 1997, he made his statement loud and clear. That year, My Way hit the shelves. With it came a seismic shift in Usher's trajectory. Fueled by tracks like You Make Me Wanna, Nice and Slow, and the title track My Way, the album was a masterclass in contemporary R&B. It showed off his vocal maturity, his fluid choreography, and his magnetic charisma. Every note, every move felt deliberate, like he wasn't just performing, he was claiming space. My Way sold over 7 million copies worldwide and earned him his first Grammy nomination. But more than the numbers, it positioned Usher as a new kind of male artist. He was sensual without being overexposed. Young but emotionally resonant. Controlled, yet full of fire. And the public responded. His fan base exploded. Teenage girls plastered his posters on their walls. Radio couldn't stop spinning his tracks. Music videos showcased his dancing with a precision that evoked comparisons to Michael Jackson. But Usher wasn't trying to be the next anyone. He was becoming the first him. It was clear, this wasn't beginner's luck. This was a breakout engineered by grit, timing, and unmistakable talent. And it marked the moment when Usher stepped from potential into power. By the early 2000s, Usher was no longer a rising star. He was R&B royalty in real time. But in 2004, he shattered even his own ceiling with a single album. Confessions didn't just succeed, it redefined what commercial and emotional impact looked like in modern music. Released in March of that year, Confessions was raw, vulnerable, and fearless. It wasn't just an album, it was a public reckoning, filled with lyrics that hinted at infidelity, heartbreak, and regret. The rumors swirled. Was it autobiographical? Was it fiction? Usher never clarified fully. That ambiguity made it even more magnetic. Songs like Yeah, featuring Lil Jon and Ludacris, set dance floors ablaze. Burn and Confessions Part 2 gave fans a window into his soul, or at least what felt like it. The album debuted at #1 and went on to sell over 10 million copies in the US alone, making it the best-selling R&B album of the 21st century to that point. But Confessions was more than just chart success. It was a cultural moment. It marked the arrival of an artist in full command of his narrative, willing to show both strength and shame. Usher was no longer just the smooth operator. He was the confessor, the flawed man trying to make sense of his own story. That transparency struck a chord, especially in an era where most artists carefully concealed their vulnerabilities. The accolades poured in. 3 Grammy Awards, multiple American Music Awards, MTV VMAs, and BET Awards. His stage shows became spectacles, tight choreography, emotional storytelling, and the unmistakable sense that fans were watching a man at the peak of both his talent and his truth. And behind the scenes, Usher was evolving too. He was now an executive producer, a creative director, a man shaping his career with intention. No longer following anyone else's script, he was writing his own, with ink made of experience and rhythm. If My Way was Usher's declaration of independence, then Confessions was his coronation. It didn't just elevate his status, it carved his place into music history. A global icon had arrived, not in spite of his mistakes, but because he chose to sing through them. Usher's career wasn't defined by a single album. It was built on consistency, reinvention, and an almost supernatural ability to stay relevant across eras. In a business that often forgets its stars as quickly as it crowns them, Usher has remained not only visible but vital. With 8 Grammy Awards, dozens of Billboard Music Awards, and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, his accolades reflect more than popularity. They reflect influence. He has sold over 100 million records worldwide, placing him among the best-selling musical artists of all time. But perhaps Usher's greatest achievement is his ability to evolve with the culture while still steering it. After Confessions, he released a string of albums that each revealed a new layer. Here I Stand offered a mature perspective on love and fatherhood. Raymond vs. Raymond explored duality, of fame, of manhood, of identity. And Looking For Myself experimented with electronic influences, proving he wasn't afraid to push genre boundaries. Then came the Las Vegas residency. In 2021, Usher launched his first full-scale Vegas show, a career milestone that symbolized his status as a true entertainer in the lineage of icons. The residency was more than a concert, it was a celebration of his legacy. Sold-out shows, standing ovations, seamless dance routines and vocal performances that reminded fans, and the industry, why he was still in a class of his own. Beyond his own music, Usher's influence runs deep through the artists he has mentored. Most famously, he played a pivotal role in discovering and shaping Justin Bieber. Through his joint venture with Scooter Braun, Usher helped launch a global pop phenomenon, proving that his vision extended beyond his own spotlight. He's also graced Broadway stages, hosted award shows, performed at presidential inaugurations, and headlined the Super Bowl halftime show in 2024. A full-circle moment that placed him among the pantheon of elite performers. Longevity in the entertainment world is rare. Reinvention with integrity? Even rarer. Usher has mastered both. He didn't just ride trends, he set them. He didn't chase the spotlight, he shaped it around himself. And decades into his journey, he's still far from finished. For Usher, success on the stage was never the ceiling, it was the foundation. Offstage, he has quietly built an empire that spans sports, tech, philanthropy, and lifestyle branding. While fans saw him as the R&B showman behind closed doors, he was evolving into a sharp, strategic businessman. One of his most high-profile ventures came in 2005, when he became part of the ownership group for the NBA's Cleveland Cavaliers. At the time, it made him one of the youngest minority owners in professional sports. It wasn't just about courtside seats, it was about equity, influence, and long-term investment. His involvement opened the door for more entertainers to think beyond endorsement and toward ownership. In the world of fashion and fragrance, Usher launched several successful colognes bearing his name, including Usher He and Usher VIP. The scents, sleek and masculine, became top sellers in the celebrity fragrance market and reflected his personal brand. Refined, charismatic, and detail-driven. He also ventured into technology and entertainment startups, backing companies focused on music innovation, streaming platforms, and minority-led businesses. His investments are typically aligned with a deeper mission, empowering young creatives and amplifying Black ownership in traditionally exclusive industries. Philanthropy has been a consistent thread in Usher's business life. In 1999, he founded the New Look Foundation, a nonprofit aimed at providing youth from underserved communities with education, mentorship, and real-world experience in leadership and business. To date, the foundation has impacted thousands of lives globally, offering programs in everything from financial literacy to media production. Even in his business ventures, Usher's artistry is present. Whether it's designing a product line, mentoring a startup founder, or curating a concert experience, he brings the same precision, passion, and creative instinct that made him a star. For Usher, success isn't just about staying on top. It's about expanding the definition of what success can look like. Stage or boardroom, he moves with the same rhythm, intentional, calculated, and always a step ahead. Usher's lifestyle in 2025 reflects a man who has worked tirelessly and wisely. His homes are more than just real estate. They are curated environments that mirror the different facets of his identity: the performer, the father, the visionary. His current primary residence is nestled in the hills of Los Angeles, a $3.75 million modern estate that blends panoramic city views with sleek design. The house is both open and intimate, with floor-to-ceiling windows that drench the interior in California sunlight. Inside, clean lines and neutral tones are contrasted with bold art pieces and personal memorabilia. A platinum plaque here, a framed photo of his children there. The home isn't just luxurious, it's lived in. It tells his story. There's a private gym, a recording studio, and a meditation space. The kitchen is chef-grade, but with family-style seating, an intentional nod to the importance of togetherness in his daily life. The outdoor area features an infinity-edge pool overlooking the canyons, complete with a fire pit and lounge designed for late-night gatherings under the stars. Before Los Angeles, Usher was deeply tied to Atlanta, a city that helped raise him and where he invested early. Over the years, he's owned several properties there, including a European-style estate in Roswell that once made headlines for its elegance and scale. He's since sold many of his Atlanta holdings, but maintains roots in the community through charitable work and frequent visits. Rumors swirl that he owns a secret mountain retreat in Colorado, his sanctuary for writing, detoxing, and reconnecting with nature. Though never confirmed, paparazzi have occasionally caught glimpses of Usher in Aspen during off-tour months, sparking speculation about a hidden high-altitude hideaway. No matter the location, his taste is consistent, refined without being gaudy, modern with respect for tradition. The homes reflect who Usher has become, a man of balance. He blends his high-profile public life with a deeply personal, grounded private one. The spotlight may follow him everywhere, but when he steps through the front door, he returns to peace, family, and the essence of who he's always been. Where many build homes to show status, Usher builds spaces that reflect soul. And in 2025, he's living not just in comfort, but in harmony. Usher's lifestyle in 2025 reflects a man who has worked tirelessly and wisely. His homes are more than just real estate. They are curated environments that mirror the different facets of his identity: the performer, the father, the visionary. His current primary residence is nestled in the hills of Los Angeles, a $3.75 million modern estate that blends panoramic city views with sleek design. The house is both open and intimate, with floor-to-ceiling windows that drench the interior in California sunlight. Inside, clean lines and neutral tones are contrasted with bold art pieces and personal memorabilia. A platinum plaque here, a framed photo of his children there. The home isn't just luxurious, it's lived in. It tells his story. There's a private gym, a recording studio, and a meditation space. The kitchen is chef-grade, but with family-style seating, an intentional nod to the importance of togetherness in his daily life. The outdoor area features an infinity-edge pool overlooking the canyons, complete with a fire pit and lounge designed for late-night gatherings under the stars. Before Los Angeles, Usher was deeply tied to Atlanta, a city that helped raise him and where he invested early. Over the years, he's owned several properties there, including a European-style estate in Roswell that once made headlines for its elegance and scale. He's since sold many of his Atlanta holdings, but maintains roots in the community through charitable work and frequent visits. Rumors swirl that he owns a secret mountain retreat in Colorado, his sanctuary for writing, detoxing, and reconnecting with nature. Though never confirmed, paparazzi have occasionally caught glimpses of Usher in Aspen during off-tour months, sparking speculation about a hidden high-altitude hideaway. No matter the location, his taste is consistent, refined without being gaudy, modern with respect for tradition. The homes reflect who Usher has become, a man of balance. He blends his high-profile public life with a deeply personal, grounded private one. The spotlight may follow him everywhere, but when he steps through the front door, he returns to peace, family, and the essence of who he's always been. Where many build homes to show status, Usher builds spaces that reflect soul. And in 2025, he's living not just in comfort, but in harmony. If Usher's homes are an extension of his soul, then his cars are a mirror of his motion, sleek, powerful, and always in rhythm. His car collection in 2025 isn't just about horsepower or luxury. It's a carefully selected fleet that reflects decades of style evolution and success. At the front of the pack is a Ferrari 458 Italia, Italian engineering fused with raw aggression. With a naturally aspirated V8 engine and sculpted design, It's a car built for performance, but owned by someone who knows the value of presence. This isn't a joyride, it's a statement. Then there's the Tesla Model S Plaid, a nod to the future. Fully electric, blisteringly fast, and equipped with cutting-edge tech, it represents the side of Usher that embraces innovation and sustainability without sacrificing thrill. Inside, it's minimalist and silent, just like Usher during those rare off-grid escapes. Classic luxury also finds its place in his garage. His matte black Mercedes-Benz S-Class is the go-to for red carpets and formal appearances. Polished, understated, and secure, its comfort and elegance bundled in German precision. Often chauffeured, it lets him step into any scene with grace. He also owns a custom Range Rover SV Autobiography, tailored for road trips with family, retreats to the mountains, or quiet solo drives into the hills. With quilted leather interiors and a built-in entertainment suite, it's less SUV, more personal lounge on wheels. But the crown jewel? Usher's private jet. A sleek Gulfstream G550, outfitted for transcontinental travel, luxury seating, and privacy. It's how he gets from Vegas to New York to Paris without skipping a beat. Time is his most valuable currency, and the jet ensures he spends it on what matters most. Luxury watches, designer fashion, and art collections round out his world. Pieces from Balmain, Tom Ford, and Rick Owens hang in his wardrobe. But what stands out most is the intentionality behind it all. Every purchase, every possession serves a function, not just to impress, but to express. In Usher's world, luxury isn't loud. It's composed, curated, and driven by design. Long before activism became fashionable in entertainment circles, Usher understood the weight of his voice. He wasn't just an artist with a platform. He was a black man in America with a responsibility to speak up, show up, and push forward. Over the years, he's taken clear and courageous stances on racial justice, police reform, and educational inequality. In 2020, during the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, Usher was among the first major artists to not only lend his voice but his resources. He marched, he funded legal aid initiatives, and he co-wrote op-eds calling for systemic change. His activism wasn't performative. It was rooted in lived experience and long-held convictions. Usher also created space for nuanced conversations. He pushed for Juneteenth to become a national holiday, penning a passionate essay in the Washington Post that laid out both the history and the moral imperative behind the recognition. His words reached beyond music fans. They landed in legislative offices and media headlines. Through his New Look Foundation, Usher has spent decades empowering underserved youth to become global leaders. The foundation doesn't just offer handouts, it offers training, mentorship, and tools to navigate systems not designed for them. For Usher, that's where real change begins. He's also made public statements on voting rights, LGBTQ+ inclusion, and mental health, often using his performances and award show appearances to make quiet yet firm declarations. Whether through a symbolic outfit, a pointed lyric, or a stage backdrop, Usher knows how to say more by showing, not shouting. In 2025, Usher remains a powerful advocate, not because he's the loudest, but because he's consistent. His activism is layered, grounded in experience, delivered with empathy, and backed by action. Usher's longevity in the spotlight isn't accidental. It's built on discipline, mindfulness, and a wellness philosophy that reaches far beyond physical appearance. In 2025, at 46, he remains one of the most energetic performers in the business, but what keeps him performing at that level is what he does when no one's watching. His wellness routine is deeply rooted in balance between body, mind, and spirit. He begins most mornings with yoga or stretching, often followed by guided meditation. He's spoken publicly about the power of stillness, especially in a world that demands constant motion. Meditation for Usher isn't just a trend, it's a tool for clarity, creativity, and emotional regulation. Boxing is a longtime passion of his. It keeps him sharp, both mentally and physically. The ring, he said, teaches you focus, rhythm, and respect, traits that echo through his music and stagecraft. He also mixes in strength training, cardio dance workouts, and even the occasional capoeira session, blending martial art with movement. On the dietary side, Usher leans heavily toward plant-based eating. While not strictly vegan, he prioritizes clean, anti-inflammatory foods and often fasts intermittently to improve energy and mental sharpness. He credits this lifestyle with helping him stay performance-ready and spiritually connected. But Usher's wellness is more than routines. It's a mindset. He believes in intentional living, the power of gratitude, and the importance of giving back. In interviews, he often returns to themes of purpose, grace, and elevation. He reads philosophy, journals regularly, and surrounds himself with thinkers, healers, and creatives who challenge and center him. Spirituality has always played a quiet but guiding role. Raised in the church, he now takes a more eclectic approach, one that draws from traditional Christianity, Eastern practices, and personal intuition. He doesn't preach, but he walks with faith, visible in how he treats people, how he leads, and how he heals. In a culture obsessed with the external, Usher's philosophy is a reminder that true vitality comes from within. Behind the fame, behind the flashbulbs, Usher is, at his core, a family man. His personal life, though occasionally public, has always carried a quiet depth, a journey shaped by love, heartbreak, growth, and unwavering devotion to his children. Over the years, his romantic history has captured headlines, beginning with his high-profile relationship with Chilli from TLC in the early 2000s. The pair became one of R&B's most iconic couples, their chemistry both on-screen and off. But the relationship eventually unraveled under the weight of public scrutiny and personal complexities, a story subtly echoed in the emotional layers of Confessions. In 2007, Usher married stylist Tamika Foster. The union marked a new chapter, fatherhood. Together, they had two sons, Usher Raymond V, born in 2007, and Navid Ely Raymond, born in 2008. Though the marriage ended in divorce just 2 years later, Usher fought hard for custody, eventually becoming the primary caregiver. His devotion to his sons became a defining part of his public persona. Concerts and interviews often paused for stories of school runs, bedtime rituals, and learning how to braid hair. Then, in 2015, he quietly married his longtime girlfriend and manager, Grace Miguel. The couple kept much of their relationship out of the spotlight, opting for privacy and intention. Though they separated in 2018, Usher spoke of the mutual respect and care they maintained. In recent years, he found renewed love with music executive Jennifer Goycoechea. Together, they've welcomed two children, a daughter, Sovereign Beau, born in 2020, and a son, Sire Castrello, born in 2021. By 2025, the two remain partners not only in parenting but in life and business, often seen together at events, blending style and affection effortlessly. Fatherhood has deeply influenced Usher's worldview. He's spoken about wanting his children to see his flaws, his evolution, and his effort to be present. In many ways, his family is his anchor, the steady rhythm beneath the performance. Through every relationship, every chapter, one truth has remained. Usher loves deeply, protects fiercely, and grows relentlessly. In the chaos of celebrity, his family is his most grounded harmony. To the world, Usher is a singer, a dancer, a performer. But behind the scenes, there are layers many never see. Hidden talents, quiet passions, and unexpected skills that add dimension to a man already known for his depth. One of Usher's lesser-known pursuits is acting. While music has been his mainstay, he's appeared in several films and television projects that reveal a surprising range. From his role as a charming DJ in The Faculty to more dramatic turns in The Mix and Hands of Stone, where he portrayed boxing legend Sugar Ray Leonard, Usher brought intensity and charisma to the screen. Acting, he said, lets him step into perspectives outside of his own and sharpen his storytelling skills in the process. Off-stage, he's an avid visual artist. Usher often sketches and paints in his downtime, treating the canvas as a place for personal reflection. While he rarely exhibits his work publicly, close friends and collaborators speak of an artistic eye with bold color choices and emotionally rich forms. It's a creative outlet that offers quietude away from the chaos. He also has an affinity for calligraphy and journaling, often writing letters by hand or crafting lyrics in notebooks rather than on digital devices. There's something sacred, he says, about the tactile act of putting ink to paper, like a conversation with yourself that can't be rushed. And then there's fencing, a sport he picked up during film training, but stuck with for the mental focus and elegance it demands. Much like dance, it's about timing, precision, and control. These lesser-known facets of Usher paint a fuller portrait, not just of a superstar, but of a man deeply curious about the world, committed to craft in all its forms. He isn't just about the spotlight, he's about the substance behind it. No journey to greatness comes without turbulence, and Usher's life has seen its share of storms. Through career highs and personal victories, he has also endured controversy, heartbreak, and public scrutiny. Yet each time he's returned stronger, reshaped, but not broken. In the late 2000s, his divorce from Tamika Foster unfolded in the public eye, followed by a difficult custody battle over their 2 sons. The emotional toll was evident, as was the media's relentless fixation. But Usher faced it head-on. He didn't retreat. Instead, he opened up, through interviews, through music, and most of all, through his consistent, visible role in his children's lives. His commitment to fatherhood became one of his most admired attributes. Then came one of the most challenging chapters, the legal allegations in 2017 surrounding his personal health and relationships. Multiple lawsuits accused him of failing to disclose a sexually transmitted infection, sparking a wave of tabloid headlines and speculation. Usher responded quietly, through legal channels, not social media spectacle. While some cases were dismissed and others settled out of court, the public narrative was complex and at times harsh. But even in silence, Usher evolved. He took time away from the spotlight, focused on wellness, realigned his inner circle, and gradually rebuilt both his image and peace of mind. Rather than issue grand statements, he let his actions, his philanthropy, his performances, his parenting, speak louder. Throughout it all, Usher has demonstrated a rare kind of resilience. He's never claimed perfection. Instead, he's owned his humanity. In a culture quick to cancel, he chose to confront, correct, and continue. Setbacks for Usher didn't define the destination. They redefined the route, and in every stumble, he found the footing for a greater comeback. Few artists have shaped a genre the way Usher has shaped R&B. His name isn't just remembered, it's referenced, revered, and often repeated when talking about the sound of a generation. By 2025, his impact is undeniable. He didn't just contribute to R&B, he redefined its emotional vocabulary, stage presence, and crossover potential. Usher came at a time when the genre was shifting, moving from classic soul to a fusion with hip-hop, pop, and electronic influences. And yet, he managed to preserve its core: vulnerability, romance, groove. Songs like Nice and Slow, Burn, and Climax didn't just chart. They became cultural touchpoints, played at proms, weddings, breakups, and everything in between. He gave a voice to love, loss, and longing in a way that was intimate yet universally relatable. He's influenced an entire generation of artists. Many of today's biggest names in R&B and pop openly cite Usher as a direct inspiration. Chris Brown, Ne-Yo, Trey Songz, The Weeknd, and of course Justin Bieber, whose global rise Usher helped launch and mentor. His vocal runs, dance precision, and stage command became the gold standard for what it means to be a complete performer. Usher also played a pivotal role in shifting perceptions of masculinity in music. He made emotion cool. He danced with strength and grace. He sang about pain without apology. His presence challenged the archetype of the stoic male figure, showing that confidence and compassion could coexist. Beyond music, his philanthropy, activism, and business ventures have extended his legacy into realms of social change, education, and entrepreneurship. The ripple effect of his New Look Foundation has created a new generation of young leaders, empowered by mentorship and opportunity. In Las Vegas, his residency has become a masterclass in performance art. In music history, his catalog remains required listening. And in culture, Usher is more than an entertainer. He is a benchmark, a bridge between eras, a blueprint, As the years move forward, one truth becomes clearer. Usher didn't just leave a mark. He carved a path. And the world is still walking it. In a world that moves fast, where fame is fleeting and talent often traded for trend, Usher Raymond IV remains. Not just as a star, but as a standard. A man whose life has been lived in melody, whose journey has danced between light and shadow, and whose legacy continues to grow in both sound and silence. From Chattanooga church pews to the grand stages of Las Vegas and global arenas, Usher has built more than a career. He's built a body of work that pulses with passion, reinvention, and soul. His music made millions move. His vulnerability made them feel. And his choices, both public and private, showed that greatness isn't about perfection. It's about evolution. As of 2025, he is an artist, a father, a philanthropist, an entrepreneur, and an icon whose chapters are still being written. He doesn't just represent the past. He actively shapes the present and inspires the future. And while fans around the world celebrate his chart-topping hits and signature moves, those closest to him know that his greatest triumph is balance between stage and home, spotlight and solitude, ambition and grace. Usher's life is a composition, crafted note by note, beat by beat. And if the past 3 decades are any indication, the next movement is sure to be just as powerful. The curtain hasn't fallen, the music hasn't stopped. He's just getting to the next verse.